Peace, power, and protection, tribe. Y'all come on in. Peace. I got my little pineapple juice and I got my mic tonight. So those some ones in the chat if you all can hear me. I want to make sure that my mic is working well. So if you all could throw some ones in the chat, peace, power, and protection, tribe. So I'm trying something new. I got my little microphone. So you guys, I wanted to discuss today. I got a story that's quite disturbing to tell you all the truth. Out of Ohio. You guys, hold on one second. I want to come out some screens. Sorry, you guys. What's up? What's up, man? Hold on, y'all. I'm working with multiple screens here. Um, You guys, we got a story today that I want to bring to y'all. It's about mother. Her name is Antavia Kennibrew. And basically, this is a sad story out of Ohio. What's up, gang? Peace, power, and protection, y'all. The mother basically is seeking justice for her daughter, A. Marie. I'm just gonna go over the facts of where the case is now before I delve into the article. I've linked the article in the description along with her GoFundMe is there in the chat as well, and I'll be adding that to the description as well. But let's just talk about the facts of it. Um, on September the 13th, you guys, the mother, Antavia Kennibrew, says that an incident involving her 5-year-old daughter, she was lured and attacked, okay, from her family's house. I'm gonna get more into that in the article, but basically, she was lured and attacked by a gang of boys that were all under the age of 10, and they raped her, they ripped her hair out of her scalp. They scalped her and they actually placed sticks down her throat, you guys, and left her some blocks away from her home. A 5-year-old girl, and all of these kids is under the age of 10. So we gonna get deep into this because guys, right now, peace, power, and protection ain't a time to be playing around with your children because it is stuff that is walking into everybody, including our children. You enter and overstand, and we got to be spiritually protected on all angles, and we got to begin to protect our star seeds from trauma because trauma in childhood is what alters our spiritual gifts, and that's why we have to do all of this shadow work as adults to heal the traumas of childhood when the demons first jumped on us and try to cause a traumatic experience that's linked to our spiritual gifts. So let's keep on talking about it. Poor A. Marie. So they said that the local police confirmed that it was an ongoing investigation involving children all under the age of 10, y'all, as both victims and suspects. Okay. Cuyahoga, that tell you a lot right there. Cuyahoga, okay, that's Indian. Y'all know that's an indigenous name up there, all right? Cuyahoga County prosecutors later charged two children, reported age 9 and 10, in connection with the assault. A GoFundMe is titled Justice for A. Marie, and it was created by Antavia Kennibrew, and it represents the September 13th event. Again, that number 13, y'all know what 13 and Freemasonry and all of that. And if you don't know, then I'm just gonna let you go and do your research because sometimes researching something is better than somebody just giving you an answer. And also, this done been covered by a whole bunch of national outlets, you guys, People, Yahoo, Law and Crime. So let's get into it, you guys. Peace, power, and protection, y'all. I'm glad y'all sticking around. So the title of this article, y'all, is Shove Sticks Down Her Throat. 5-year-old girl gets hair pulled from her scalp during a vicious attack by a group of boys, all under the age of 10, mom says. It says an Ohio mother says her 5-year-old daughter was allegedly beaten, raped, and had her hair scalped from her head by several boys who cops believe are all under the age of 10. The mother said, "These are not normal kids, okay? These are not normal kids, you guys. These kids is walked in. It's something else going on with our youth right now." All right. So the mother said they're not normal kids. She went on a Facebook post about the alleged assault that occurred on September the 13th. At the time of this article, the police was still investigating. She's saying that she quote and said, "I couldn't believe what I saw in front of me." The distraught mom explained about her child's condition following the attack. "My daughter didn't look like herself. She was traumatized." It said a post by the Cleveland Division of Police on the 7th of October says its Sex and Crimes Child Abuse Unit is actively probing the incident, and multiple children under the age of 10 have been identified as suspects, you guys. Local officials did not respond to Law and Crimes request for further comments on Monday. So to listen to this, you guys, this happened on September the 13th. This is now October the 16th. We just finding out about this now because the mother had to do social media efforts, you guys, because they didn't even want to prosecute anybody. So the mother saying, and I quote from this article, she says, "I am bringing this to the media today because the authorities are failing my daughter, and they are trying to tell me that two of the kids can't and won't be charged because they are 8 and 9 years old, even though they attempted to murder my baby and they raped and beat her." Kennebrew wrote on Facebook, "Themselves and their parents need to be held accountable." In this case, I 100% agree, because what in the world is them boys them been exposed to in their young and impressionable lives to carry out a grape, okay, a gang grape on a child that's 5 years old, stuff sticks down her throat, scalp her, and leave her for dead? Like, y'all, this some serious stuff right here. These kids need a real spiritual healing, okay? They don't need no psychology, y'all. Like melanated people, sometimes we need a little bit more because we dealing with a little bit more. Ashe. So let's keep on going. It says that Kennebrew says she dropped her daughter off that Saturday at a family member's house in Cleveland. So this happened in Cleveland, y'all. And it says that the 5-year-old walked out the door of the home undetected and was allegedly found by bigger kids who presented themselves as friendly. It says the boys took her by the hand and walked her to a field that was far away from the residence, Kennebrew alleged. In that field, they beat my daughter until she was unconscious. They ripped out her hair, they held my daughter down, and they raped her. They also stuffed shit sticks down her throat, stripped her naked, and strangled her with her own shirt, you guys. Mm, mm. That's terrible. It just hurts my heart to see that it's kids out here that's so lost right now, y'all, that we got youth out here that's like really just committing atrocities because they ain't got no direction and no protection spiritually or nothing out here. They just out here. This is sad. All right. It says, let me keep on going though. It says Kennebrew says the children left her daughter in the field and continued playing in the neighborhood. Her family member noticed that Kennebrew's child was gone and went inside to see if she was in the area. But all she had found was the alleged suspects. So she says, my family member walked up to them and asked them if they saw a little girl, Kennebrew explained. They stared at her with no remorse and told her no and continued playing, knowing what they had just done to my daughter. This is her talking in the first person, okay? It says the authorities was called and eventually came back over to the family member with one of their parents to explain where Kenneth Brew's daughter was. So listen, they done left out from over there, y'all. They done went to the other parents, you understand, and now they coming back to these people to tell this lady where her daughter is, okay? According to the mom. She said she was alerted by a relative as she rushed over to find EMS treating her daughter several blocks away. She says, what I saw was unbelievable. This is what she told a CBS affiliate. She said her hair was scalped from her head. She had bruises and blood all over her body. Her eyes were filled with blood. Her lips and mouth were filled with blood. Her nails had debris and dirt stuck in it. She says that after the attack, her daughter's left physically and mentally hurt, you guys. She said the young girl is currently undergoing therapy and she's calling for the police to file charges in the incident. And she's saying she needs justice for her daughter. So, you guys, let's talk about it. In these times that we in, we always talk about, what's going on cosmically and different things like that. And we talking about the 1010 portal and we talking about all kind of energies. In September, we had all kind of energies. We had eclipse energy and everything. Well, what you have to enter and understand is kids, especially kids from the ages, peace, Susan, peace, Empress Susan, but especially kids from the ages of birth to the age of 7, they are highly, highly spiritual. And when I say highly spiritual, I mean they have spiritual gifts because they are still linked to the in between. That means linked to the quantum, peace VIP producer, and linked to this plane as well. They are highly psychic, and if you hone in on their spiritual gifts when they're young and they don't get any type of trauma or anything attached to those gifts, they can be very strong, very, very strong. But in the same token, you guys, you can also have entities that can walk into kids. Kids can be walked into. Kids can get possessed by malevolent forces as well. Okay, we have to realize that a lot of people always thinking about spiritually protecting themselves, giving themselves spiritual baths and different things like that. But what type of spiritual cleansing is you doing for your children and what they being exposed to when they walking out in the public or different things like that? There are things that you can do. Unfortunately, this lady, you enter and overstand. I guess she wasn't practicing any of that type of spiritual protection. And unfortunately, her daughter done been a victim of a spiritual attack very young. And they attacked what? What they always attack in people that are highly spiritual, your root chakra. Okay? A rape your root chakra enter and understand why they grape children or why those entities grape or mess with that energy right there. You enter and understand because they want that energy to be bound there. Okay. When your soul experiences a trauma, such as a trauma like a grape, okay, spiritually, your soul fractures. I'm finna tell you what it is. You fracture, you go in the in between. That's what trauma is. Something can happen to you in your conscious mind so hard that you have to fall back on your soul. You got to go back to the in between. Okay. They call that subconscious, y'all, but we talking about the Akash, the records of Akash, the real stuff. Let's talk about what really happened in a trauma. So when they hit you, with that type of trauma to your root chakra in order to deal with it in your mind because you got a pure child's mind, okay? A pure soul until somebody fracture your life. So you regress back into your soul self. And then what your soul kind of does is take that memory and binds it up and encases it, okay? And then as you go on, you're going to have a problem accessing that root energy because you're not going to be able to fully tap into that energy of the soul until you address the trauma that is wrapped into it. You enter and understand. Greetings, tribe. So when you have those type of traumas like that that hit the root chakra early in life, it jumbles up the energy, it messes up the pathway. You understand? You always associate that sexual energy with a trauma. And even if you regress the memory in your subconscious mind, overstand subconscious affects what? Consciousness. We're talking about alignment of chakras. So if you can't harness your solar energy from your root because you've taken a trauma there that have cut you off from that area, then that stuff is going to keep you trapped in what your root chakra, your lowest element. And this is why most children, people who experience those type of grapings, those type of traumas, first of all, it's a spiritual transference of the same energy, of the same entity, bro. I'm telling you straight up. So either one or two things that's going to happen with that energy. Either they're going to be a perpetrator of the crime or they're going to continue in the cycle of the perpetration, because what you have to understand, you get stuck, you loop, your mind has to revert back. Even though it's in your subconscious, overstand you still operating from your soul. And unless you can align all your chakras, you can't get to your higher purpose. You enter and overstand. So they attack the youth, they're going to attack our star seeds in those formative years. That's why all the vaccination programs happen. That's why all of the psychological programming goes on with the language, with the different stuff that they do in education and different stuff like that, with the vision that they put, with the ego building. All of that stuff starts at home, and then they put the principles and everything on it when you send your child to a school with principles. And if you know anything about the word principle, they rolling over the principalities right there. So we talking about real spell work that's going on with our children. You got your kids just walking down the street freely. These streets got energies on them. Some of these streets is built over things, atrocities. Some of these streets got ancestors walking, disagreeable, disgruntled stuff, y'all. Shit's too real. We in a time right now where we can't be trivial, you understand, and just look at everything the way that everybody else looks at it, because you a melanin being. Your children is melanin being. We talking about star seeds right here, right now. We talking about kids coming online, getting their spiritual gifts right now. And we talking about how we could stop our kids from being spiritually attacked. And there comes a time, if you separate, and you need to recognize and realize that it's time for you to separate your kids out as well. And if you can't separate them out, then you need to be putting all kind of angles of protection all around them right now. Now, where did that lady go wrong? She went wrong on a lot of levels, y'all, because I'm going to tell you something. 9 times out of 10, all the bad shit happen when you drop your kids off with family, or it's usually somebody perpetrating it in your family. Like, y'all, I'm just telling the truth, bro. People don't usually get great by people they don't trust. It have to be some type of level of trust for you to even leave a motherfucker around your kids. Now let's just keep it real. We talking black and white. It ain't like people who are out here hurting children like this look like the boogeyman. Because if they look like the boogeyman, kids wouldn't be getting snatched. Thank you. Let me just sip a little bit more of it. Cause I done been talking all day. But for real, y'all, for real. Enter and overstand. Most of the atrocities happen with the family, or the family taking their eyes off your kid. What they say, the little girl went out the door unnoticed. How the hell long was she unnoticed? Like, I ain't trying to blame nobody for the worst, but I got to ask the question, What is she doing going unnoticed, just walking out there around some kids anywhere in the neighborhood she don't know? Who was supposed to be watching that baby? You were supposed to be watching your own baby right now, because that's the only way you gonna know what's going on with your child. Ain't nobody come up in here and say parenthood was no easy task. If it was an easy motherfucking task, then people wouldn't be failing at it all the damn time. I look at it like this, and it's realer than real, bro. Don't have no progeny if you ain't ready. And that's easy for me, and that's not easy for me to say. You enter and understand that stuff come from experience and going through it myself. So I ain't here to throw the book of judgment at nobody right now. I'm here to throw the alarm up as a divine feminine and as a mother who's had plenty experiences and seen others experiences, and just say, hey, mothers, hey, fathers, it's time to really put the spiritual protection on your kids. It's really time to start watching your neighbors, watching your neighborhood, watching these kids who you have around your kids. Because I'm telling you, it is your neighbor that's out here hurting they kids. And them kids that's done been hurt got demonic transferences on them, and they ready to transfer those demons right to your fucking child, okay? They own everything. You understand? They all on social media. Your child can't watch nothing right now without some type of light frequency or sound attack. We always talk about us, tribe, but let's start thinking about our kids. They just as important and they way more sensitive than us, right? Way more sensitive to it. Way more sensitive to it, and way more easier to get attacked because they ain't got all of they um perceptions yet about this reality. Like they got to grow that aspect. They got all the pure light. You understand what I'm saying? They the pure light. And that's how you want to keep them until they can mature and grow and develop a sense of reason to be able to have the perception to deal with this reality. But in them formative years, yo, when they tell you send your child off to school and stuff, them is the very developmental years that make or break the soul, bro. It's easier to build a man up than heal a man once he broken. And you know this about yourself. If anything, if you done ever experienced a trauma when you was a child or whatever, because most spiritual people have, it's a ascension journey, a lot of shadow work and stuff like that, then you know you have to go back and you have to repair all of those fractured lights and everything that happened to you in order to, you understand, get to where you need to be. So, you know what, tribe? Yes, the early years is exactly, Susan. The early years is the most critical years, y'all. That's the most critical years to the soul, and they the most indelible to the soul, enter and overstand, because that's when you got your cosmic imprint from the great mother, excuse me, but your imprint from the great mother is all over you at that time. And I'm gonna tell you something, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. If you go on your program, your will is gonna be done, and you're gonna magnify it to a powerful soul. You can't miss. Your star seed can't miss. If you don't something con they track, but you got to realize, even you yourself, like this goes back to the trauma of a parent. If a parent don't heal their trauma, a trauma be on you. I already talked about this. I talked about this in another discussion, but it's the truth. Trauma can't recognize trauma because your baseline is always traumatic. Again, them traumas in the soul, you understand that you ain't healed, you passing on to your kids, whether you know it or not. That's why the cycles keep repeating. It's the same energy, bro. It's the same thing. Like, ain't no real separation between energy, light, frequency, sound, emotions. All of these things is all tied. It's all a reality. All of this is electrical energy, magnetic energy, and everything around you that's creating a physical reality, and that's affecting your brain waves, magnetite crystals and stuff like that in your personal health. And that go for your child too. Your child got magnetite crystals in there. Your child forming brain waves and all kind of patterns right now. What patterns is you putting on them? They should be unopposed right now. But the more stuff that you put on them, the more that they build a false ego, and the more it traumatizes them. Every time you have a trauma, that's you building up that ego. And eventually that ego imprint over your original records. And you'll become that. And then you're gonna have to go back. The child gonna have to go that, do that, you understand? Shattering all of them egos, all of them false perceptions of reality in order to get back to their true self. And some people never heal that. And that's the kind of the goal of this, you understand, matrix of this reality is to keep a soul in its ego, to keep a soul encased in itself, to keep a soul hexed up, to keep that energy from being able to flow. Because if your soul free, then you will no longer be bound here in hell. Truth is the truth. And if anybody here to tell you that this shit don't add up to heaven and hell, they's a lie. Because that's all it's adding up to. Everything is for one or the other. And you making a choice every day, which one, which reality, and which plane you getting ready to be in. And it's simple as that. So, tribe, I'm gonna be live tonight about 9 o'clock. We're gonna be over in Telegram discussing current events. We can't really discuss some of this stuff on here, but I should have some little lively topics in there. So we're gonna be doing the current events live. So I hope y'all come over there and catch me there. Um, like I said, everything, the link is in the bio or whatever, for A Marie, GoFundMe and for this article. And you guys, I hope that y'all enjoyed this live. Y'all can always also come follow me on all my other social medias and everything too. Those links is in my bio. And before you leave out, please hit the like button and get your little notification bells up so you can tell when I go live. All right, you guys. So go and peace, power, and protection reflections. I hope y'all stay dangerous. And I'm gonna catch y'all on the up and up for another live real soon. All right. Peace and love. Bye, you guys.